Hey, what's up, people?
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hi.
I'm João Menegussi. I go by the pronouns of he, him, and his, and I am from Brazil.
My name is Javier Rivet. My preferred gender pronouns are he, him, his, and I'm from Madrid, Spain.
My name is Duncan Lyle. I am a gay man, he, him, his, and I am from Melbourne, Australia.
I'm Jacob Clerico. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I'm from Natick, Massachusetts, which is where I'm currently quarantining.
I'm Remy. I'm from Belmont, North Carolina, and I go by she, her, and hers.
My name is Tyler Maloney. My preferred pronouns are he, him, and his, and I'm from Wyckoff, New Jersey.
My name is Connor Holloway. I am from Louisville, Kentucky, and my preferred gender pronouns are shins, but I will also respond to he or her or them. The more the merrier. I accept all pronouns.
I'm Calvin Royal III. I am a soloist with ABT. My gender pronouns are he, him, and his, and I'm from the Tampa Bay area in Florida. So let's get into it.
I came out as gay to my friends, actually being here in the United States when I was 18. But I didn't really talk about it with my family until last year when I started to date my boyfriend.
I came out first to some of my close friends. I was about 16 already, and I came out to my family when I was about 17. My dad kind of forced me to do it, so yeah.
It's sort of tough for me to pinpoint when I officially came out. It was sort of like a phased rollout system for me. Like I started telling my close friends when I was probably about 15 and I was discovering my sexuality for myself. And then I told my sisters, and then eventually, after a while, I told my parents, who were extremely supportive and accepting. It just took a while for me mentally to get over the hurdle of being vulnerable and open and honest. So I guess I would say I was about 18 when I was, out.
I came out to my family when I was 15 years old. Very randomly, it was not planned. I just sat both of my parents down and I was like, I have something I need to tell you guys. It was in the summer, and in the fall I was gonna begin my training in ballet much more thoroughly, and I was leaving public school and getting ready to do online schooling, and I think I felt a lot of confidence after being so welcomed in the dance community, and I think it gave me the courage to just sit my parents down and tell them, hey, I'm gay. I don't know how I did that, but it was definitely a life-changing moment.
I started the process of coming out around the age of 15, but it was a fairly long and drawn out process. I did not rip the band-aid off at all. I first started coming out to my dance friends, and then I started coming out to my school friends, and then I finally started coming out to my family. So I began coming out around the age of 15, but it was quite a long and drawn out process.
I was about 17 when I first came out. I was home from ballet school after my first year away, where I really just found myself. But yeah, I think it's always a process. It takes time. You tell your family, and then you tell your friends, or vice versa, and then boop, you're on social media, and the rest is history.
So I studied queer and feminist theology last semester, and while I was doing that, I came across this quote that said, "Queerness outwits identity." And that really spoke to me because there's so much power in ambiguity. It allows for a fresh new perspective to infiltrate maybe a traditional or potentially stale environment, or maybe your approach to something that you do is too stuck. And so just having this perspective in the back of your mind really allows you some freedom, I think. You don't have to fit into a certain box. You don't have to do something a certain way. Ballet is obviously a traditional art form that requires a really precise technique. But at the same time, it needs personalization. It needs to be expressive.
I think that my identity and artistry have kind of found a way to enhance each other as time goes on. By which I mean, as I become more in tune with myself, I find more freedom in the choices I want to make as a dancer and in the ways that I try to let my movement manifest. So I guess as I develop more pride, my artistry becomes more representative of my true self, which is a really liberating thing to discover.
I think that coming out can be such a freeing experience for an LGBTQ person that relieves them from the stress of hiding a really important part of themselves. So I feel like since I was openly gay, that freeing feeling was translated through my dancing.
To be honest, I don't think only being queer influences my artistry. If anything, it definitely just enhances me being able to be who I am and accept who I am and do it in an unapologetic way. So I think being queer, if anything, it only adds to me being able to be true to who I am as an artist.
I think as a student, I felt that being gay was a disadvantage, and it was something that would really stifle me from getting hired into a professional ballet company. I felt like it was going to pigeonhole me, and I was going to be seen as flamboyant and feminine, and I would never get a job to depict these sort of heteronormative characters that are usually pretty integral in ballet repertoire. But I think that's so wrong, and as soon as I realized that movement doesn't have a gender, it doesn't have a sexuality, I really could embrace myself, all sides of myself, and I think that it definitely enhanced my ability on stage and in the studio.
I think being a queer influences a lot on my artistry. Even more when you talk about, I can represent both sides of the spectrum. I can be masculine as I can be feminine, and there is no issues on that. Which sometimes it's not a reality, even more when you talk about straight people, straight guys. There's this misconception that you can't be feminine or act like a woman, or you're considered a faggot or gay, which is absolutely ridiculous. So I believe everyone can express their feminine side, and they should not be afraid of it. And I think that just makes everyone a better artist in general. So
I have always been attracted to those sort of Titan gay icons, and it would be untrue for me to say that every time I went on stage that I didn't bring them with me. I have learnt so much about timing and reacting and the importance of posture and the importance of your eyes from Betty Davis and Joan Crawford and Vivian Lee and Elizabeth Taylor and Lauren Bacall, a lot of people. And also I've learnt everything that I know about physical comedy from Patricia Rutledge and Joanna Lumley and Jennifer Saunders. So those huge gay icons have definitely shaped who I am as an artist.
I think being queer has definitely shaped my artistry in the studio and in my work. I feel like it helps me kind of be fearless and just be who I am, and shape characters in a more contemporary way. You know, bringing in my own personality and my own experiences into these roles that have been done for so long. I think it's really vital to keeping these ballets alive. It's us putting life into it, contemporary life into it. And I definitely feel like being queer and my personality has totally helped shape that.
I'd have to say my biggest queer inspiration is probably Billy Porter. He's just so fabulous and unapologetically black and queer, and he's just himself. And I think the world is finally taking notice in a bigger way that people like him that are able to just live their life openly, freely, authentically. It's really inspiring. And so yeah, I'd say Billy Porter.
There are so many queer people, and specifically a lot of queer artists that really inspire me, but someone that came to mind in particular is Sam Smith. I was first drawn to them as a musician. I really liked all of their songs, and I went to their concert. I was a big fan. So I began following their music career more closely, and I saw Sam starting to open up about their sexuality, and putting that out in public when it had been kind of hidden before. And then as time went on, and they've gone farther to start openly discussing their gender and being non-binary and using they/them pronouns. And I was just really moved at the courage and honesty that they presented along with their music career. So that was really inspirational.
I am really inspired by so many people that I encounter, be it somebody I read or somebody whose art I enjoy or a celebrity on Instagram or even my friends in the studio each and every day. But two people who especially come to mind who aren't queer, but Joan Didion, who just seems like this fierce lady who back in her heyday especially wrote a lot about the power of self-respect. There's an article that she got published in Vogue when she was in her young 20s that I have as my computer background, and it's just a good reminder to respect yourself. Secondly, Alicia Keys. She is just an awesome woman. She makes amazing art. She is stunning. She fights for what she believes in. She's run so many organizations that support HIV and AIDS, that support not having to wear makeup, that have just really made a difference and an impact in the world. But it's because it comes from a genuine place. And so she really speaks to me a lot in her music and just in the person that she embodies.
My biggest queer inspiration is George. He's a friend of mine from Brazil. We grew up together because we studied in the same ballet school and we became best friends, and nowadays we call each other sisters. And I just love him a lot, and he's such an inspiration to me as a human being. So yeah.
For style, there's people like Elton John and David Bowie and Jules from Euphoria, and then there's music, there's Troye Sivan and Kim Petras, and oh my gosh, the list goes on. From a more interpersonal level, I have a friend, Michael McLean. We went to high school together in Louisville, Kentucky. They live in Brooklyn now. They are also non-conforming, and we just reconnected actually pretty recently, and they've been a huge inspiration to me, and they have taught me the importance of taking up space and what that means and what that looks like. I am forever grateful to you, Micah.
I think it would be impossible for me to name my one biggest queer inspiration, so instead I am going to say Mark Crowley, Christopher Isherwood, Tennessee Williams, Patricia Highsmith, Russell T Davies, Howard Ashman, and Frederick Ashton. These are all queer creators who have created work that is very dear to me, that's had a huge impact on me. And so if you don't know who any of those people are, absolutely look them up, and I guarantee that you will find something that you fall in love with.
I think that my biggest inspiration right now are Javier Calvo and Javier Ambrosi. They are film directors. They're actually from Spain, and they are making amazing movies and TV shows, but also they're giving incredible opportunities to LGBTQ artists. So I think that they are really, really amazing.
I wouldn't say that I've faced much adversity in my life for being queer, which is really, lucky. But I will say that for a long time, I've felt like I had to stifle the like queer side of my personality out of fear of, you know, being judged or making people uncomfortable. And that can really easily spiral into feeling like you have to stifle like your whole self. So I think it's something that even now I have to actively talk myself through in my life, that, you know, I'm allowed to just be who and what I am, and that's okay.
I think my biggest adversity for being queer was probably within myself, for being gay. It took me some years to really fully accept and embrace myself, and I think once I finally did, it was like my whole world opened up, and I didn't feel like I had to hide anything or put on a mask and pretend to be something that I wasn't. So yeah, I think once I fully, truly embraced myself, that's when I was able to be free.
I was bullied at school for a number of years. It started around 12, 13, when everyone starts to become aware of that kind of thing, and it really lasted a number of years. It began with my friends at the time, all of them just collectively deciding to not speak to me anymore. So there were a number of years where I was left with no friends. I dreaded every single day having to go to school. I dreaded every single class having to walk into, figure out a place to sit, and worry about who I was going to end up sitting next to. But then, like everything, it changed, and there were other gay kids at school eventually. I mean, they were always there. They came out eventually. And so I had people to become friends with. And it really helped me a lot just to have other people who were like me to be my friend. And it helped us ignore everything else.
I feel like most of my adversity was internal and sort of reconciling with myself and my life and who I am. And so it's definitely more of an internal struggle for me.
In our days, I gotta say that I don't have problems with that anymore, because I am in an environment that obviously everyone accepts the queer people. And but when I was a kid, I was a lot bullied in school, regular school. I was bullied all the time. I would like come back home crying. But my sister started in my school and she would beat all those people down. So that was a good thing. But besides that, I don't think I've ever had major issues. Besides the fact that obviously I couldn't fully talk about feelings, because, you know, when you're not out and you like the same gender as you, it's very difficult to talk to people about it.
In terms of adversity, I have to say that I had a few rough years, especially when I started to dance, because, I grew up in this little town where everyone knows each other. So basically, kids at school and even in the street bullied me. But my family always supported me. They taught me how to deal with it, how to become a stronger person, and just don't let it affect me.
I think I'm very lucky to say that I haven't faced much adversity for being gay and who I am, but it's also just, I've been lucky to have the support of my family and the dance community and to live in New York City. So I think I'm very fortunate in those ways. But growing up in the suburbs, I mean, it was hard, and it took a lot of strength and understanding like self-worth from a young age. But I honestly feel like it made me a much stronger person, and who I am today, I would not be who I am if I had not gone through those events as a young adult. But I mean, I don't regret anything, and I feel like I'm proud to be the person I am today.
Okay, favorite Instagram account would have to be Emma Portner. She's just so cool, and her movement is so powerful and vulnerable, and it makes me wish I could move that way. And she gives me such an appreciation for a completely different genre of dance.
One of my favorite queer social media accounts is LGBT_history, and it's a really great Instagram page, and it's all about LGBTQ plus history. And I think, you know, the internet is where so many young people learn about so many things, and especially when it comes to our history, you know, it's not something that they teach in school. So I think having Instagram for that platform, and it's just really easy for people to see all these different videos and old photos and quotes from these iconic moments in our history, I think is really important and valuable.
Well, my favorite account for like important content and gay news and stuff is Gay Times' Instagram, but my favorite gay meme account, and actually just my favorite meme account in general, is Best of Grindr. As I'm getting older, I'm becoming more invested in immersing myself in the gay community, and social media gives everyone the opportunity to connect, whether it's for, you know, important information or just sharing laughs, which is really cool.
A page that I follow on Instagram, it's called LGBT_history, and they post these really beautiful vintage photos and video of the LGBTQ community from way back up until now. And it's just really cool to see how far the community has come and how much further we have to go in terms of visibility and representation, in terms of tolerance and acceptance globally. So I really love this page a lot.
At the moment, I am really enjoying Sarah Zed on YouTube and Jack Saint on YouTube, and also Mike's Mike, also on YouTube.
Shamelessly, one of my favorites is probably Best of Grindr, which is definitely for gay people. Tyler, Maloney, and I send each other their posts back and forth like on the daily. From a more serious sort of queer media publication, I really like Them. It's called Them. And yeah, they deliver great news, and they also are really good at sort of exposing other queer youth around the world, which I really appreciate. I really use them as a resource to sort of see what's out there and who's out there. Hi, people.
So, I follow the Bearded Queen on social media, on Instagram actually, because backstory. I went to Industry, it's a LGBTQ plus bar in New York, and every Sunday night they have a drag show. And then this night, the Bearded Queen was giving a show, and what a show. So that was my first drag show, which I was very impressed. And then after the show, when he came out walking in between everyone, I came up to him and I was like, wow, I've never watched a drag show, and this was so fun, so incredible. It was funny, it was fierce, it was like everything. So I asked his Instagram because I really wanted to follow him. I just think his art is incredible.
Oh, that's a loaded question. I mean, I think ultimately I would love to see the ballet industry just become much more inclusive, represent voices and people and stories across the board, from different backgrounds, different cultures, that are authentic and that are true. Yeah, that's how I would love to see the ballet industry continue to evolve from what it is now into the future.
Moving forward, I would love to see more queer identifying characters in ballets, or in abstract ballets, maybe some queer-centric moments. I think that they're so beautiful, and in concert dance, they're kind of hard to come by, that I think it's just really special. And when I have seen it on stage, you know, it's something that everyone talks about after the show is done. And I think there's some really beautiful, tasteful ways to incorporate this into so much of our work, and I think it's lacking, but I think there is a possibility, and I think that a lot of choreographers are starting to do that because that's who we are as people.
I think there is a lot of room for improvement always, and something that I really would like to see in the ballet industry, some changes. Inside of every ballet company, sometimes there is a lack of opportunity for people to show what they can do, what they cannot do, what are they good at, what they're not good at. And there's a lack of opportunity for them to dance and be seen. So that it's a big thing that I would love to change. And another thing is, theaters are very expensive, and I do understand ballet is expensive. Although there are hundreds of thousands of people that would love to go to the theater, and the only reason they don't go, it's because they just can't afford it. So I would like to see that changing too.
In the future, I would love to see how ballet companies are more open to break with the traditional gender roles. For example, recently I watched Matthew Bourne's Swan Lake, which I loved. So I think it would be great to see more adaptations of the classics.
I would love to see ballet embrace its gay audiences and its gay artists a little bit more. And let's tell some gay stories. I have been a professional dancer for 10 years, and I have never been in a ballet about gay people.
I think so many people in the ballet community want to see more diverse representation just across the board, in all levels, through all identifiers, just more inclusivity overall. I mean, the beauty of ballet for me lies in its, history and traditional roots, but I think that some departure from older ways of thinking is warranted. Everyone should be able to go see a ballet and see a character with which they can identify on stage. And I think a lot of dancers and choreographers have started to make that leap, but I think the industry as a whole could definitely stand to just open up and make space for different kinds of people and different kinds of stories.
Moving forward, I would love to challenge the ballet community, mainly the administration and the education staff, to be more mindful with their words. I think we underestimate the power that words have on us and our performance. And now that I have watched on Netflix the documentary for the spelling bee, I know how many words there are in the English language, and I just think that we could all be more mindful on how we talk to people, how we talk about people, how we correct people, how we criticize people. Everybody just wants to be seen as individual. And I think that there are ways to get what you want by being more clear. I think that we are far too informed and intelligent to be using such generalized, useless, unhelpful words.
Pride for me means being exactly who you are or who you want to be. It means being your true self without fear of judgment or discrimination.
For me, Pride is a time of celebration. It is a great opportunity to celebrate how far you've come along in your own personal journey, whether that be from in the closet and afraid to out and proud, or anything in between that. But it is also a time for reverence and for reflection. It's a time to think about and give gratitude to all of the brave people who fought and who sacrificed and who did incredible things for us to be able to enjoy the rights and the freedoms that we have now. Without all of those people, there wouldn't be Pride. So, happy Pride, celebrate, reflect, be proud of who you are.
Pride to me means being true to who you are, unapologetically you, and embracing every aspect of who you are, what your values are, what you want to represent, what you do represent in the world, and not being ashamed of that, being you. That's what pride means to me.
Pride to me is about being visible. It's about feeling safe and feeling welcome. And it is also a reminder of all the hardships that so many generations had to go through before us to be where we are today, and to kind of inspire us to keep moving forward and to never settle for less. There's so much more that I need to learn, but Pride is always a time to learn and to be retrospective and also look to the future.
You know, I definitely like to take the month to reflect and to really think on what it means and also how far we've come and how far we have to go. But I am really grateful to grow up in the time that I do and not have to feel so scared all the time, but so grateful for all those that got us to where we are today. So people like me can wear eyeliner on the street and yeah.
To me, Pride means celebrating everything that you are and celebrating everyone's differences and everyone's uniqueness. And it's a time, Pride Month, when we should be reminded that no one has to feel ashamed or scared to hold back from being their truest, realest, and most authentic self. And it's, about building each other up, and that starts with loving yourself, and then you extend that love out to everyone. And that's what Pride is all about.